What's up, movie fans and Netflix bingers? This is the Bros Who Binge Podcast. My name's Adam Schubert, and as always, I'm joined by Lyndon Burton. Lyndon, how are you doing today, man?
Doing well, man. You know, we got a lot of good news to discuss and got to talk about a CGI character who looks crazy. Got to talk about a weird horror rendition that's going on over at DC and a lot more other stuff. But I'm super excited about our discussion for today.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day weekend. Did you do anything for Valentine's Day?
I just hung out with my girlfriend had work, so like it was more so like I got you this, love you, bye. Like, and then we're doing something this upcoming weekend on Sunday, taking her to a concert. So, but other than that, on the actual Valentine's Day itself, just kind of kept it low key, man. I don't really if I keep it a spade with you. I don't really like to celebrate Valentine's Day because that's really a Hallmark holiday, and I don't really believe in Hallmark holidays, TBH.
Yeah, I understand that.
Like, why can't I show my girlfriend I love her every day of the week, every day of the year? You know what I mean? Like, why do we have to spend money this specific day and just like, you know what I'm like? I just it's just a big corporation holiday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just an excuse to sell candy.
Facts, but I did get her some candy and she got me some, but like we said we weren't getting crazy gifts. What'd you do on Valentine's Day, bro?
Me and some other, I guess, alone
Associates?
male on Valentine's Day we're the only two people in a large theater to see Alita at about 4:00 in the afternoon.
Cool.
So,
yeah, we got to talk about that because I saw it as well today.
So I'm pretty sure I did the normal single person on Valentine's Day thing and found something else to do.
Classic. Well, Shuby, at least we get to talk about movies, bro, because we're pitching some. We said for discussion this week. I'm super excited for this. We were gonna take Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and other. Other could be Netflix, Hulu. Whatever other you have, whatever other network or franchise you want to pitch for, but we're going to pitch what movie we want them to do, I guess, next, or just what movie or TV series we want them to do. I'm super excited to hear what you got to pitch for Star Wars, DC, Marvel, and your other, man. I'm super excited to talk about this.
Yeah, the Star Wars one's definitely the best one.
I figured I think it would be your Star Wars would be your best. DC would probably be your second best. Although
I don't know.
Although I was gonna say your other might be your second best, and then I think Marvel's last.
I honestly couldn't come up with an other. It was really hard, so I'm still probably processing that as we go along.
Because you said Harry Potter, like when you were telling me about it, I was like, "What? I can't pitch no." And that's why I was like, "Bro, let's just make it other."
Well, yeah, it was just because all I said when I said that was, like, I just don't know what other franchises there are that are out there that are huge enough to talk about, like DC,
Facts.
Marvel, and Star Wars, to where they're doing stuff on multiple platforms, and it's, widely known. Like, the only other one I could think of is like Lord of the Rings, but I don't really know if Lord of the Rings could really do anything right now. Maybe they could do a TV show or something like that, but like I just don't know if like in the world of what Game of Thrones is right now, I just don't know.
Well,
Lord
of the Rings is doing that Amazon series, but I was gonna say, maybe Star Trek, because Star Trek is at the time doing movies and television.
They're so oversaturated right now.
I agree. That's why I said maybe Star Trek, and I don't like that's just me being devil's advocate because I agree with you. I don't think there's any other besides Marvel, DC, or Star Wars.
And I didn't put it in the notes, but there's gonna be a animated Star Trek Nickelodeon show.
That's interesting.
So
I don't know who the market's like. I know people are gonna say it's for kids, but like kids right now, and it is the era. I guess people watch Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Resistance, but I just don't see very many action-based shows on television. And I guess that's where they're trying to hit that market. But over the years, action-based cartoons have really stopped. If you look at it with our generation, my brother's generation didn't really get that many, and transformed into more weird comedy with some action involved. And that's been what it's been for the past couple of years now. And it's weird that they're trying to bring back certain action-based cartoons. Like, you see Justice League action, but that was like a 15-minute show. It wasn't even a full show. And even Teen Titans Go is comedy. You see Star Wars Resistance, that's on Disney. But other than those shows, there's not many action-based. And Star Trek, if you really look at what Star Trek is, it's not action-based either.
No.
It's about negotiations and phasers set to stun and like, what? It's about exploration.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it could maybe work in the Nickelodeon format because at least Nickelodeon isn't Disney.
True.
In a sense, so like, you know, I remember some of those Nickelodeon shows would dive in a little deep, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nickelodeon and what they're doing later, but that's I think that's pretty crazy how the turnover over there has been really having them switch gears on what they've been doing in the recent years.
Nickelodeon,
I don't like it, but
I think they've suffered the most in the new age of
definitely
transitioning from us to the cloud kids of the internet. They suffered the worst. Disney was able to maintain due to the Mileys and what they had live action down to a pack. When Nickelodeon's live action, yes, we love it, but it didn't stand the test of time, and they weren't able to pull off the second generation of live action. Then if you look at the animated side, Cartoon Network's been killing forever. They're going to survive because they have the teenage kids. Disney has the younger kids. Nickelodeon's in that weird gap to where it was always hit or miss with them. But yes, they had us, but like you said, when they transferred over from SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, they couldn't do it. And they've been playing reruns of those shows, and they kind of have some new stuff in, but they never really made the transition into the second wave of animation. So I agree with you. Nickelodeon, I think out of the three major cartoon or kid hubs, I think it suffered the most going into the 2010s.
I feel like they also kind of became unrelatable reality-wise, because that was always the big thing with Nickelodeon to me was, you know, the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock show that they had going on that was almost like watching to the Today Show, but for kids in the middle of the day. With its own set of games and Slime Time, but they had a litany of different names, like from Slime Time Live. I don't remember what it was like in the 2000s with that chick Candace.
Oh,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about though. They had all that live stuff.
Yeah, no, they did, and they killed it. They were MTV, but for kids, and like but with digital. They kind of lost that, and Disney hit the YouTubers and got them for their live action. So Nickelodeon was left in a weird place. But man, we got a lot to get into, Shuby. But I'm ready when you are, brother.
Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about. So let's not waste any time. Let's go. So I think we have to start this discussion with what everyone's been talking about. It seems the past week. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Blue Will Smith.
You set it up well. Yeah, man, the Aladdin trailer dropped. When did it? Was it a game or something? Like, I forget what happened that night. Oh no, it was the Grammys.
Yeah, the Grammys.
Grammy night. Oh God, these award shows, and we don't even want to talk about the Oscars. We didn't even put that on the topic list.
And there's more controversies.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
It more and more each week, man. Like. But
I don't even want to watch it at this point. I'm almost just like, give me the list of names. Just give me the winners. Like, let's see how this went. Because I know you're not gonna. I know Black Panther's not gonna win Best Picture. So let's lose that suspense. And by the way, they did win for Best Visual Effects, and I really don't know if that's too fair.
They should not have.
Because of that scene in the CGI
train.
Fight scene.
Yeah, Act 3. I told you, Act 3's trash. Like, how did it lose to Avengers Infinity War, first off? For visual effects. If we're just talking visual effects. Like, Solo had better...
Solo.
Yeah, Solo had better visual effects, too. And if we want to keep it a bean, Aquaman didn't drop in time. Or if it did, Aquaman had better visual effects than freaking Black Panther. Underwater.
Yeah, so I thought that was dumb. But
anyway. Let's talk about Aladdin, nonetheless. Oh man! All right, Jafar looked dope. The scene where they were doing where it's
That's interesting that you say that because I've been hearing everyone bash Jafar too.
See, I'm not with that because I thought you. What do you expect? His costume to be smooth? Like they're gonna add jewels. It's gonna be realistic. Like it's not gonna look exactly like the cartoon. I am sorry. Like that. Like It's never gonna look exactly like the cartoon.
I think it's
their
ahead.
Own version.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a little bit of the cartoon, a little bit of the play, which definitely deviates from that storyline, and it's a very good story. If you ever get a chance to see the Aladdin play, it's a little different, but the things that they incorporate, like they give Aladdin like friends, and so he is his life before Jasmine, the lamp, and Genie has a little bit more substance
to it. Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna do that in this. They're gonna take liberties with it. So, for example,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I dig Jafar. I dig seeing the Cave of Wonders. I finally got to see it move and lit up because at first I was upset with it. I still don't necessarily know if I like it being in a mountaintop. I really might have liked it just if sand came up, but you want to keep the CGI to a minimum because you got to spend it on other things we see, and we're gonna get to that. But I like the Prince Ali where they're singing, and you see, I'm sure Will Smith's gonna be in human form at that point. When if you remember the cartoon, Genie was light skinned and he had the get up that Aladdin had, and they had all the elephants and tigers, and they're going to see Jasmine the first time. That scene was in the trailer. That shit looked dope. Now let's talk. Even rug, they had the rug looking good. I don't know. Everybody might have been distracted by Will, but I was looking at that rug. That rug looked dope. Now let's talk about it. Shuby, the first. Okay, I tweeted this. The picture that he posted on Instagram looked 20 times better than what I saw on screen. On the trailer, it looked like his face was one of those Photoshop Twitter things. Like, you know what I mean? Like a Twitter meme. And they just Photoshopped Will Smith's face on whatever the thing was.
I don't know if it was you that I told him on my initial reaction to that, where I thought that his face was going to like carry off onto the background. And it was just... And because like that's how it looked. It looked like they had put a body there and then like took a projector screen of Will Smith's face and like tried to aim it in the right spot. Mm-hmm. And they just didn't get it in the right spot.
It was just floating, and like they gotta fix that, because if that's not fixed, that movie won't work. Like, I'm sorry, it won't work.
Everyone's gonna look at it and just laugh and be like, "Wow, this is." And we were all making fun of the fake mustache.
We thought the fake mustache and floating head cyborg was bad.
Yeah.
This is just Will floating in blue. But I'm sure they're gonna fix. I'm sure he's gonna be in human mode.
It's still early, but on the flip side, it's like, man, like, why would you scare everyone like this and put it out? Put it out if it doesn't look good. Like, I mean, I understand that they were receiving an uproar or backlash, but now people are actually. They're now considering not going. That even when we hadn't seen Will Smith and his Blue Genie, people were still like, "Well, I mean, I'm still gonna go."
Yeah, exactly. And then like couple that with the fact that the director's Guy Ritchie, and not Guy Ritchie's past couple of movies haven't been too great. Like it's not a big fervor of like, we're going to see Aladdin, because you got to think Lion King's around this time, Avengers. Like Disney's putting everything around this time, so I don't know how Aladdin's gonna stand against some of these other titans that they're going against, which looks dope. But
maybe that's the point. Maybe that's how they feel about it.
Maybe
let's tuck it into June.
See, I feel like Dumbo, either Aladdin or Dumbo is gonna be the flop, because it's not gonna be the Marvel movies, and it's not gonna be Lion King, because Favreau's putting you don't get the cast that they got with Favreau to do that movie. But me 2 months ago would have said you don't get Will Smith to be Genie if you don't think it's going to be a hit. So that's why it's either going to be Aladdin or Dumbo that flops. I'm telling you that right now. I feel it, because one of them's not going to be good. I still have hopes that Aladdin's going to be good, because I think they can fix that CGI. Because if all the problem is just getting Will's place and face and getting it to look right. Because the picture, I'm telling you, the picture on IG did not look bad.
Yeah. I mean, that one didn't look bad, but I'm going by what I saw on the screen.
Facts, 100%. But that's all I got to shoot on Aladdin.
Yeah, so from Aladdin, let's start talking about Aquaman, because there's a lot of news coming out with Aquaman.
Yes, there is.
And the first one, of course, is that they're going to go with a definitive step towards making a sequel. And they hired David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick to write the script. Aquaman 2 is going to be produced by James Wan and Peter Safran.
Nice. So we don't know if Juan's coming back to direct. I'm sure he's probably trying to get, if the story's good and if they back the Brinks truck up to him, he'll be back. Cool. This is dope. We need a sequel. Aquaman was dope. I want to see more in that universe. I want to know more what's going on with Arthur Curry. I got to know what's up with Black Manta going forward. Will he be in the Legion of Doom? What's he about to do next?
Will we even see him?
Exactly. Like, I want to know what's going on in Aquaman 2. You sold me with Aquaman 1. It's the highest. It made a Billy highest selling DCEU flick. So you know it's going to get a sequel. Just do a good job with it.
Do you think they stay really? You think they still stay isolated within the Aquaman story? And because I know with Wonder Woman, since it's such a time jump, her story is going to be isolated because like no one else is around. But with Arthur Curry's story, there's still other people around in this universe that he could interact with. I think that we might be starting to see the more interactive MCU kind of thing going forward.
See, I don't know. I don't know if it's ready for Aquaman 2 because I think there's more in Atlantis that needs to be explored. You have more lore you could set up. I don't know if you tie in because at this point we have no Superman. We have Wonder Woman, yes, and you can easily bring her into Aquaman. But do you want to do that now and confuse people with Flashpoint? I don't know. They already had the thing where it was rumored. She shut down the rumor that they were dating. That was a hint that Flashpoint isn't probably going to happen. But nonetheless, you don't bring Flash in because we don't know what that's going. No Batman because we know we're trying to get a new one. I just think you keep him in his universe, fill it out more, flush it out. You can introduce maybe not Aqualad quite yet because Black Manta is young, but you can get to that. You can get to starting to get some of these fleshing out this Aquaman universe. I don't necessarily want to see more DCEU ties in terms of heroes. Now, if you want to tie it into lore, maybe a Cadmus, maybe an Argus, something like that, like the government, I'm cool with that. But like in terms of seeing one of the members of the Justice League or another hero, I'm cool on that. Like, let's just keep Atlantis. But you can give me more government, like secret stuff going on where you find out they're behind some crazy stuff that'll take place over a couple films.
Yeah, I could see maybe. I just don't know enough about Aquaman's lore.
He doesn't have that much.
To figure out where they go from there.
No, I agree with you on that. It's got to be more Black Manta.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, I guess it's got to be more Black Manta. Maybe you throw in a little bit more of the environmental stuff because I think that was something that a lot of people really go back to when they think of that Aquaman movie and be like, man, the message they kind of sent with how we treat the ocean was a big deal. So maybe you tie in something more with that. Maybe have a villain that is somehow causing more debris into the ocean or vice versa. And that's something that he would have to deal with. I don't know. That's just me kind of riffing about what to do because I just really don't know much about Aquaman.
No, he most of his stories are contained. It's mostly him fighting other Atlanteans, or it's a lot of Black Manta. It really is. You set it up in the second one to where it's him in Randall Park getting ready to do some stuff. So I'm cool with that. But what concerns me is the next topic. I don't really know what this is now.
I'm more interested in this, so let's go to it.
I feel like this is a cash grab, but let's get Warner Brothers is developing The Trench as a spin-off horror movie to the mega hit Aquaman. The studio has hired Noah Gardner and Aidan Fitzgerald to write a script centered on the Trench, the deadly amphibious creatures who attacked Aquaman and Mera in the movie. The project will be set in the undersea kingdom in the Marianas Trench, where a group of the original inhabitants. Oh, the Marianas Trench, where the group of original inhabitants were sent after Atlantis sucked and evolved into the savage monsters. James Wan and Peter Safran will produce The Trench, which is being developed as a lower-cost version of Aquaman without the main cast involved. No director or cast is yet attached. So, yeah, that's what we got. The Trench creatures were created by Jeff Johns, introduced in the Aquaman story in 2011. Yeah. What you think about the Trench? See, Shuby, I don't know. This could be cool. This goes back to one of your things that you always wish Star Wars would do, i.e. Death Troopers, the zombie stuff, where they could do a horror film set in one of these universes. If DC pulls it off, it's huge. It's a big move for them, and it's them doing something that the other franchises haven't done yet. I just don't know. Horror films in my universes like this, I'm skeptical because I'm just not a big fan, and I don't know how this is gonna work.
I like that there's not going to be any inclusion of the original Aquaman cast.
Oh, you can't have any.
I know, you can't. And I think that's the only reason that this is going to work.
Okay.
I think you can almost kind of pitch it in the same sort of sense as that Joker movie, where this isn't anything that's supposed to be a tie-in to our expanded universe here, but this is a really cool story in Aquaman's world that we want to tell. It has nothing to do with him.
This is wild because if they pull it off, this is revolutionary. This is the true essence of comicness, where it's a what if, or not even a what if, just like a side story of some horror stuff that happened in the universe that doesn't tie to anything, doesn't affect the timeline, but it's just a good inside look. It's what the Star Wars stories wanted to be, where it's just a pull out of the stream of boom, here's the story. It has nothing to do with anything else, nothing to do with anything over here. We just want to tell this one particular story. We're going to pull it out of the timeline and plop it right back in after we're done.
Yeah, I like it. I really do. And I'm hoping that that's some things that DC explores a little bit more. Like if there's something that someone really... Harley Quinn is another great example of that. Harley Quinn comes into Suicide Squad, obviously was the biggest part of that movie, and now she's headlining another big movie in DC. It's kind of like DC is kind of noticing things that people are like, man, that in that movie, that was really cool. I would like to see more of that, and finding a way to give the people what they want.
No, I feel you on that, and I agree with you with Harley Quinn. It's just, were people clamoring for the Trench?
Yes, a lot of people were saying that was one of the one part that felt the most James Wan to them, and something that they thought was really cool. And I agree with them. I thought that scene was really powerful in the sense that there was some fear in there, and you could you could really see where you could do something off of that.
See, maybe that's just the comic book in me. I knew when we got James Wan attached to Aquaman, I said, oh, the horror is going to be from people like the Trench and the sea monsters. And it's like, okay, cool. We got that. It's like, all right. But I get horror fans being like, why can't we get a little more oomph for that? So it's not for me. But if it works, I can admit that's groundbreaking.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what the reaction and the result in the box office will be for this, because I guess it is kind of an experiment.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, next up we got Legendary. Speaking of Aquaman, the Aquaman star is making headlines. Legendary is in negotiation for Jason Momoa to join the cast of Denis Villeneuve's film adaptation of Dune. Momoa joins an already stellar cast of Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, Charlotte Rampling, Javier Bardem, and Josh Brolin. Momoa will play Duncan, Idaho. Shuby, what you think about Jason Momoa joining the cast, this star-studded cast of Dune? It just makes me more excited.
Yeah, this movie's really coming together to be what everyone wants it to be. Dune is something that everyone's hoping is going to spawn a new Star Wars in a sense.
Yeah,
this is supposed to be a new trilogy / universe that we could really dive into and make a big deal. It could be, to that extent. I've heard so many people call this the next Star Wars, and I'm not going to say that because I feel like there are two different things here. But I mean, if that's the kind of impact that this could have, you need to go as all out as they've been going with these castings. Like Josh Brolin was the casting I had originally in our notes until Jason Momoa just jumped on. I would say like a few hours afterwards.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just putting out really great names on here. You know, Javier Bardem,
yeah,
Timothée Chalamet. You know, even having a Dave Bautista in there to
Rebecca Ferguson, bro.
I mean, yeah, I'm trying. I'm getting down there. I'm getting through the names. You know,
And then you got one of the Skarsgårds. You know it's gonna be a good movie, especially because you got Stellan. You don't have none of the trash Skarsgård. You got the good one.
Exactly. That's the thing, man. They just really are not holding back.
No, these are big names. This is a big director. Like I said, Denis Villeneuve, at this moment, if I say some of my favorite directors, it's him and Christopher Nolan. Like, those two are killing it right now, and they're going back and forth. And I loved what he did with Amy Adams and, what was that? Oh, man, where the aliens come down. Arrival. I loved Arrival, and I loved Blade Runner 2049. And I can't wait to see what he does with Dune. And like you said, Dune's supposed to be this next great sci-fi epic. I'm not going to say the next Star Wars because Star Wars was inspired by Dune, my friend. I know that's something Star Wars fans don't like to say, but it's going to be. But I'm just poking fun at you.
They're saying like this is going to have that same kind of cultural impact.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just poking fun at the Star Wars fans because this is supposed to be that next sci-fi epic that can spawn what Star Wars did. It wants to do or attempt to do something like that. So I'm excited for this.
I think Star Wars fans want that. I think that this is definitely something that no one would consider a rivalry of a sort. I think that anyone in this that's a sci-fi fan is rooting for this to do well because it's an amazing story.
No, I agree with you, brother. I'm with it 100%.
But speaking of amazing stories, did you see the trailer for Yesterday?
Yes, I did. It was very interesting.
Yeah, man. This has been something that Danny Boyle has been trying to put together for a long time. And he said in multiple interviews that this was the story that he's been dying to tell. And the story pretty much is if you woke up one day and you were in a world that the Beatles never existed, what do you do with that? And you're the only person who knows. Well, you're going to sing Beatles songs because they were amazing and make a lot of money off them, obviously. And that's kind of what this looks like it's going to happen. But there's its own twists and turns. And then also being in this world without the Beatles, what does that make? How did that influence how things are now? So I think it's going to be a really interesting film. And the trailer really got me hooked.
No, I agree, man. I always wonder, like, if you go back in time with either some sort of technology that wasn't there, or like you said, knowledge of specific songs or movies, what would you do? And of course, I'm like, the only thing with me is if I knew the Beatles weren't there, number one, I can't play guitar. I can play piano. I don't know if I can play it as well as Paul, and I can't sing. So I would need a rapper to not be known, so I could rap all his lyrics.
You just need the words, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, but I agree with you. This is a very interesting concept. It's one of those if you went back in time, what would you do? But it was more so in his time, which is even cooler. Like in the time that you're in, not going back to their time. In the time you're in, what if this person was completely wiped from existence, but you still had knowledge of his accomplishments? I'm super excited to see what comes of this.
Yeah, like the thing that really drew me in that trailer is I feel like there's going to be a confrontation with like the real life Lennon and McCartney, and man, like that would be so crazy if that's what that comes down to in that story. But yeah, I'm totally with that guy. If that was how it was going for me, I would totally become a rock star, man. The next Beatles.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, but that's just a really interesting story. I'm excited to see how that goes. Something I'm not as excited for, but I know everyone else is probably excited for, is the Breaking Bad movie.
Ooh, we'll talk about it.
It just got released, or not released, but like announced that it's going to be on Netflix So that's where it's going to be released from, and it's going to be all about Jesse. No word that Walter White's going to be in it at all.
Whoa, so no Walter White, just Jesse.
Just Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there's some plot details that I don't have them in front of me right now, but I'm pretty sure it's something about he comes across some person who's like an escaped convict or something, and stuff ensues. It's supposed to take place after Breaking Bad ended.
Interesting. Well, that's what's up. I'm looking forward to seeing young Jesse, the Jesse movie, seeing what happens, because if you remember how Breaking Bad ended, you don't know what happens to Jesse. But I'm sure they're gonna mention Walter. There's no way you make a Breaking Bad movie and there's no Bryan Cranston anywhere.
I could see where they wouldn't have him be a major player in like the plot. But like, there's got to be like a flashback, or you've got to see like some kind of encounter with them, and maybe the beginning or the end, or at the beginning and the end.
Because you can't go to the future with Jesse and him just experience what he just experienced and not want to know what happened to Walter, or not know, or not reminisce. You know what I mean? You can't especially that's the thing where the Sopranos, that's why I applaud the Sopranos for doing a prequel instead of going forward, because they would have to answer what happened to the main Soprano. What happened to I'm forgetting his name, Gandolfini's character.
Yeah,
when
they
he
have
just
to
sitting in the bar.
They got to explain a lot because they didn't even finish. They just cut off.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Like Breaking Bad, for going to the future, you don't have to explain how the thing ended, but you got to at least touch a little bit of Walter. And like you said, I agree with you. I don't want him to be the main plot, but you got to mention him a little bit, don't you?
Well, yeah, I think there's got to be some kind. Well, I mean, of course, mention, but I think Bryan Cranston's got to throw this property that pretty much made him a bone. If he's not I mean, he was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle before he was Walter White, and I don't think he'd be getting the roles he has now without it.
Oh, yeah, he's not looked at as a category number one to be Lex Luthor if he's not on Breaking
Walter
Bad.
White.
Yeah, if he's not Walter White.
So I mean, if I don't know if it's him trying to snub Breaking Bad for some reason, which doesn't make any sense to me, or Breaking Bad just being like, yeah, we don't need you, but I don't see why there would be a disconnect. Like I assume that Bryan Cranston will be in the film in some way.
100%. I'm with you on that. Well, Shuby, let's move to the world of Hulu and now Marvel Television. Hulu and Hulu and Marvel Television has partnered, now that the Netflix stuff is kind of over, to produce 4 adult animated series. We got this information courtesy of Variety. The shows will be based on the following Marvel characters: Howard the Duck, MODOK, Hit Monkey, and Tigra and Dazzler. Like the Marvel Netflix Defender shows before them, the 4 characters will team up in an animated special called The Offenders. Marvel's head of TV, Jeff Loeb, will executive produce each project. Disney, which owns Marvel, will become a major shareholder in Hulu once the Fox-Disney merger is completed. Howard the Duck will be written and executive produced by Kevin Smith and Dave Willis. Smith is known for his Asquinverse films, which includes Clerks, Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Smith has also written for Marvel Comics in the past. He's popular for writing characters like Daredevil and Spider-Man. Willis co-produced and previously created popular animated shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Squidbillies for Adult Swim. Shuby, are you excited for this? I'm excited to see the stuff that Kevin Smith's working on. Howard the Duck, especially. There's definitely going to be some pod jokes in there. He's going to have some stoner jokes in there. I'm excited to see Marvel do some adult animated stuff. They were supposed to do this with the Deadpool thing on FX with Donald Glover, but it kind of fell through. These are characters that we'll probably never see in the movies because, Howard Duck was just a cameo, a cool look. Yeah. MODOK, you can't really do just a giant sitting head, but why not have him animated? Hit Monkey, don't really know much about him. And Tiger and Dazzler, they're kind of X-Men people who are famous. So they're interesting as well. So I'm interested in this.
Hey man, The Offenders, it sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
sounds like a shot at Netflix.
No, I don't know if it's a shot at Netflix or it's just showing
a joke.
No, I think it's just pretty much Disney being like, hey, this is what we're evolving into. And I'm going to get to more on that in a second. I just want to address my excitement for what they're doing here. You know, Kevin Smith and Dave Willis are two guys that are perfect for it. I mean, Willis having done Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Squidbillies, I feel like those are some of the kind of comedy that we might see in a couple of these.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I think from a Disney perspective, this is them showing how they're going to handle the more adult properties now. They're not going to be on Disney Plus, but Disney Plus, I think, is going to be your more family-friendly MCU kind of stuff.
The most mature it gets is MCU and Star Wars.
Yeah, I think even Star Wars was going to be way more mature there than the MCU. And if they do get any more mature on Star Wars, I feel like might pop onto Hulu. I just think that Hulu is just going to end up being that place that they release this kind of stuff, you know?
No, I agree. And now that you own it, like you don't want to destroy it. You don't want to merge it with Disney Plus because Disney Plus is its own thing. Keep it going. Hulu partnered with Funimation, so you have the anime side things too. Huh. Yeah. Well, why not? Why not Disney? Now that you're about to be a major owner, why not put your people on this?
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a really big story, in my opinion. I think that this is way more of a big story than people are probably thinking it is, for the reasons that we're saying with Disney and Hulu. And you know, I don't think a lot of people in the normal audience really see any of these names besides probably Howard the Duck, and are jumping up and down being like, oh, I'm so excited. But I think that this could be a really great thing for what Marvel wants to do now in this next step for them in trying to expand the brand.
Oh yeah, man! We're in what I like to call the streaming wars.
Yeah.
Nobody has dominance right now. It's the wild, wild west. Content creators can create. These shows are any streaming service that sees a great content creator or a good IP, they're picking it up and they're running with it. And these major companies are now acquiring some of these streaming services and making their own. So it's the wild, wild west right now. And Disney has the funds, they have the IP, and they have the name to be a power player because of all three, which some only have one or two or none. And you see how they're kicking right now, i.e. CBS's streaming service. We're trying to make Star Trek pop off. But it's the streaming era wars right now. But I want to get into this next topic. Neil Gaiman revealed that Benedict Cumberbatch will play Satan in the Amazon series adaptation of Good Omens. Gaiman said that Cumberbatch's Prince of Darkness will be a giant animated Satan who appears 400 foot high. The Sherlock star will appear in episode 6 of the series, which debuts on May 31st. It was previously announced that Frances McDormand will appear on the show as the voice of God. Additional cameos in the series include Jack Whitehall, Michael McKean, Miranda Richardson, John Hamm, and Nick Offerman. Based on the series of the same name by Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, the show is set in 2018 on the brink of apocalypse as humanity prepares for final judgment. But as Raphael, Michael Sheen, a somewhat fussy angel, and Crowley, David Tennant, a demon, aren't enthusiastic about the end of the world and can't seem to find the Antichrist. I'm interested to see this. Neil Gaiman's one of my favorite comic book writers with writing The Sandman. I haven't read Good Omens, but I'm super excited to see this show and see what Benedict Cumberbatch is about to do in this.
You were just talking about the streaming wars. This is another great example of it, because not only did Amazon do this, but they've gone around and gotten like 17 different properties from countries around the world, trying to expand more of their catalog.
Yep.
For their streaming service. And so this is just another exciting Amazon show that I'm hearing about that I'm like, man, like, wow, I want to watch that on Amazon. Like, we have that coming. We have the Seth Rogen one, and there's even more that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But this sounds really interesting. And some of the names attached to it are great. Frances Dorman, Benedict Cumberbatch playing another giant creature, as he's done with Smaug. And, yeah, man, John Hamm, Nick Offerman, David Tennant. Those are great names.
Big name, man. Amazon's killing it right now. And like you said, they're just acquiring IP. They're also in the anime race, killing it with one of the biggest animes right now, killing it with The Boys, getting some of this comic book IP. And you're going to see as streaming picks, people need original content. And some of these old indie comics are some of the best stuff out, and I can't wait to see some of the stuff that becomes adapted. And this is one of the ones that I can't wait to see when Amazon puts it out.
Yeah, man. So we were talking about Nickelodeon earlier, and I want to circle back to that because there's two things that they're doing that are really interesting. One of them I'm more excited about than the other. The one I'm not as excited about is that they're going to do they're considering a SpongeBob spinoff. I don't really have much information other than that.
See, and that to me is them just retooling the same cartoon IP, and that's why their cartoons aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't know if that's really the direction they should go. SpongeBob's dead. It's over.
And the creators, RIP, he's passed away.
Now, they are repeating another IP again, but I feel like this is one that could work, and that's All That.
Ooh, that's interesting.
All That was the show that kept on giving to Nickelodeon over the course of a decade in the 90s and the 2000s. I loved it. I know you loved it. I mean, it gave Kenan Thompson his career.
Yeah.
Now the company's president thinks a revival of the sketch comedy series could be All That, for lack of a better word. And more Nickelodeon is going to revive this program, and it's the Saturday Night Live pretty much up for kids. Kenan was the big star on there. You had Kel. You had Lori Beth.
Lori Beth Denver.
You had Danny Tamborelli.
Danny Tamborelli. Amanda
Bynes. That started her career. Nick Cannon.
They started so many people's career. All that was like you said, the Kids Saturday Night Live, and that was one of my favorite shows. I hope they find a good cast of young people who are funny. I'm sure they're going to try to hit the YouTubers and hit the IG clout kids, but they need to really do a good job with it. And this is something that we don't even know we know the president said that this was good, but Kevin Hart's working at Nickelodeon right now. This is something that maybe he might be involved in with his comedy. Let him help pick some of the talent. That would be dope.
Yeah, and even more than that, and for all those people out there, they're like, you know what, I'm too old for me to be watching a Nickelodeon and all that. Well, Kenan Thompson is a part of this. He's gonna be heavily involved in this, and they're also expecting other former cast members to make appearances in the series.
They need to definitely be adults or writing, but I don't want. Oh man.
Yeah, Kenan's the executive producer.
Okay, cool.
So he's gonna have a lot of hands in there, and I feel like he'll probably do some of the writing.
Yeah, I don't want.
I mean, you got to expect that.
Yeah, no.
I don't think. I think that it'd be more of like, think about in All That where you had the side characters that really didn't like, or I guess think like Amanda in the Amanda Show more, where you had the older parents and stuff. It's because think of some of those guys in All That, you wouldn't recognize them now. Like if Danny showed up on there, I wouldn't really recognize him, or Lori Beth I would recognize, but like she's not doing much right now. I'm sure that she has the ability to be on that show. And what's that other guy, Josh?
Yeah.
I'm sure Josh is going to be in every sketch.
All I'm saying is, I agree with you. These people they need to be psyched. I just want a new cast of comedians for these kids because this isn't for us. Like you said, Lori Beth Denver, Josh, and Danny Tamborelli's old ass.
Yeah, man. I guarantee you Nick Cannon makes a cameo.
No, bullshit. I'll bet money Nick Cannon does not.
Why?
Because Nick Cannon his career is so much past all that. Nick Cannon's CEO material, baby. He's a boss.
Yeah, true.
Nick Cannon not going on all that.
I just, what is he doing right now, man? He went from America's Got Talent. He's on The Masked Singer. What is he doing?
He has he owns a bunch of businesses, man.
Okay, he's doing more on the business side. I got you.
Yeah, and he has some like content creation company. He still owns part of some of Nickelodeon.
Yes, so he might make an appearance.
I'm not sure. He ain't making no appearance. But
yeah, I think all that's pretty cool. Like for Nickelodeon, all that's a pretty good revive. You know?
No, I'm down for that. Unlike SpongeBob, but
that's all we got
for the news.
Yeah, that's it for the news. Let's go ahead and go into the box office. There's finally a little bit of a shakeup.
About time.
Number 5, we have Glass. So Glass was just number 1 last week, and now it's at number 5.
I think it'll be out. I think the
it's out now.
Kick it out. Yeah,
it's definitely gonna be out. The Upside comes in at number 4.
Nice.
So yeah, it's still got legs. A lot of people are going to see that. A lot of the older crowd.
That's the Kevin Hart film, man. I told you, my grandmother said it was popping.
Number 3, did not see this coming, but Cold Pursuit.
Yeah, we don't even have to. We can do this.
I'm honestly super surprised. I thought that in 2019, in the way that society is working, I thought that movie would have been canceled for sure.
Jesus.
Number 2, What Men Want.
Nice, the Taraji P. Henson movie.
I haven't heard much about it. I heard it, it doesn't have very good scores. Oh. So I don't know if it's like a very good movie. But hey, people are going to see it. I mean, it's an interesting concept, and who doesn't love Taraji P?
Yeah, facts. I haven't heard too much about it either. So I'll ask my mom. I'm sure she's probably going to see it.
And number 1, Lego Movie 2.
Did you end up seeing that last week?
No.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see the second Lego movie, man.
No, man. I didn't see the first Lego movie in theaters, so I'll just wait.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's fine.
Before we get to Movie on the Rise, you want to talk about Alita?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I did go see Alita today, and I don't regret it.
No, me neither. I did not. And as an anime fan and as a person who loves the manga, they did take the manga, excuse me. They did take some liberties. Some things were different, but I don't think those differences hindered the movie at all. I actually think those differences might have helped it. I think there were some things that I would have liked to see, but they had to make this movie more relatable to the general population. So I understand why you don't have the rapist serial killer that's like you change him up a little bit and make him the evil robot that's working for Mahershala Ali instead of making him the serial killer in the beginning who's killing all these women. Like and you don't have a rape scene where he's like some crazy shit. Like that's what the manga had. Like you can't have that in there. But this, I will say, what James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez did, because shout out, he's directed. I thought all the action scenes were good. There were a couple corny moments in the film. I'm not gonna lie.
I felt like it was early. There were a lot of corny moments.
There were a lot of corny moments early, like with Alita and I'm forgetting the boy's name, but that boy actually might make it into my pitch because after seeing that movie, I think he's perfect for Dick Grayson. When he took his shirt off and he was in that bedroom, I was like, yo, he's jacked, and then he starts doing the parkour. I was like, do we have a Dick Grayson? Is this the new Dick?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really like that guy.
I did too.
I don't know if I loved his scenes with Alita.
No, that's some of the corny stuff I was talking about. But his scenes by himself.
And I don't want to be like super mean about it, but it did almost seem like George Lucas dialogue to me. Like there were some times where like they were talking, and I was like, "This is Anakin and Padme in the boo." Like I just like I want to like try and get there with you, but I can't. You guys are just saying words, and I'm like, ugh.
Bruh, when they were talking to each other, and this is super spoilers, but when he was the little floating head.
Oh, God.
And when she took out her heart, and she was like, I'm all or nothing.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, stop. This is why this came out on Valentine's Day. This trash, this bubblegum trash.
But let me say this. Rose Salazar as Alita, I thought was super dope. Christoph Waltz as Dyson, I thought was dope. I thought that was Nicholas Hoult, but that wasn't. That was Ed Sheeran from Deadpool playing.
Yeah.
I thought that was Nicholas Hoult the whole time. No. So I was like, no, oh God, that's not him. But he did a good job. Mahershala Ali as Vector did a great job. And it was Keenan Johnson as Hugo. That's his name, Keenan Johnson. But I dug the movie, man, and I hope there's a sequel.
Oh no, this was 100% a setup for a trilogy.
Yeah,
this is a saga. Like we're gonna get more stories with this chick.
A trilogy? I don't know if they have an. I'm trying to think of like source material. Do they have enough? Well, yeah, they do have enough because there's like 4 books. There's like 3 books, 3 big books. Yeah, it could be okay, yeah.
That's what I think. That was the vibe I got from it because I didn't feel like there was an ending, a proper ending.
No.
I felt like it was way open ended.
There was definitely needs to be a sequel because you got to figure out what's going on with the land in the sky. You got to figure out what's up.
We didn't even see it.
No, we didn't see it. We got to know what's their connection. We got to know about the guy that's just lurking. I can't think of Nolan or Nova, whatever.
Yeah, Nova.
We got to figure out what's up with him. Like, there's a lot we got to figure out.
But we're not going to see oh, never mind.
Wait, what? No, go ahead.
I don't want to put too many big spoilers, but
we've already spoiled.
But there's not going to be a lot of people left over
from
to be in the sequel. Yes.
Yeah, we're not.
Which I loved.
No, we're gonna have Dr. Ito. He's gonna still be there. Christopher Waltz.
I know, but I loved the stakes.
Yeah,
like no one really like got. Oh man, like, and the actor that played the main guy's friend, the one.
Guy's friend.
But you know who I'm talking about? The guy.
The black kid. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the main sidekick in Bumblebee to Haley Steinfeld. Okay. I had already just seen him, and I was like, oh, he did good in that. And then I saw him again. I was like, oh, it's that same guy again, and I liked him again in a completely different role than he played in that Bumblebee movie. And his scene and the way that his story arc goes, I think is a really interesting one too, to me, and especially the ending of it. I thought that was a really savage scene.
Yeah, no, it was definitely savage. They did some crazy stuff with that. I'm telling you, man, the action in this was dope. It really, like, when she spun through his tentacles, that was straight out of the manga. Like, most of they did a good job of pulling, like, the action sequences straight from the source material. Like, when I say this was the best anime adaptation we've had, I mean it. Like, it surpassed Ghost in the Shell because Ghost in the Shell was decent, but I was bored with it because it was beat for beat exactly like this. Actually had me entertained, and like you said, yes, they did have some George Lucas dialogue where I admitted some shit was corny, dog. Super. But
corny. I mean, like James Cameron, like I it's not that I don't expect that from something.
And I don't and don't act like you don't expect that from Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
don't act like he didn't bring us Spy Kids in Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah. So
facts.
So but yeah,
dope. What would you rate it out of 5?
Well, before I do the rating, like pulling from what you were talking about, do you think that this is a good roadmap for future manga anime adaptations going forward?
Well, you should wait until my pitch for that.
Okay, sure.
For that question.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. Yes, I think this shows ways that you can do it, but I will say this: I would prefer anime do their live adaptations with a powerful streaming service that can put the money behind it to where we can get a TV show. But if we're going to do it in movie form, do it like Alita and not like what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about Alita. So thinking about the ranking, it's one of these movies where, like, I'm not saying that it was super spectacular, but I'm actually really interested now in this IP, and I think that they could do something going forward with it. I'm going to put it at an 8.3.
Okay.
Which I think is a really solid rating. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it's got legs. I think there's something to go there. You got something with it. And I want to see more. I want to know more about Nova. I want to know more about this city in the sky. I want to know about this war, the fall in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that they have a lot of room to explore, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. So I give this high rating. I think it deserves it. I think it's probably a good start to these blockbuster movies this year. You know, Glass and Alita.
Yeah. I'd say Alita probably was the better blockbuster out of it. I think I enjoyed Alita more than Glass.
Yeah.
I'd give it about an 8, a solid 8, because I agree with you. It's not like I'm saying it's one of the best movies, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was like I said, great action. Yeah, we had some George Lucas dialogue. That maybe drop it down to 7.9, but 7.9, 8. I'm sticking with 8. I love the action. I loved Ito. I loved Rose Salazar as Alita. I love Jennifer Connelly coming in this movie as the mom. Like Mahershala Ali, he killed it, but by playing both Nova and him. Vector, super dope. So I'm with you, Shuby. This was an 8, man. This is a good outing. Bravo, Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron.
Yeah, good job with
because it could have been a lot
not
worse.
Messing up something that was great.
Facts.
Right?
They could have definitely messed that up easy. But Shuby, it is time for the movie on the rise. Yeah, it's the movie on the rise. What you say is the movie on the rise. We're gonna give you the flicks and listen to our picks, cause it's the movie, yeah. It's the movie, yeah. It's the movie, yeah. It's the movie on the rise. I'm telling you, man, each week it's gonna get better. I know that might have been bad. It's gonna get better. I gotta figure it out because I gotta have an original jingle because we're not trying to get taken off of YouTube.
YouTube, God. Man, making it's got to be more creative, you know?
Bro. It's been so stressful dealing with YouTube these past couple of weeks.
YouTube just laying down the hammer
for facts, taking videos off the thing because songs like how many Rick rolls are on YouTube? Like we can't use young Rick Astley as our intro. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're showing you love, Rick.
That's we're not making common fun of internet song out there.
And that's the thing. We're not making fun of it. We're appreciating its artistic value. We're appreciating it. We're showing it love.
I remember like one of the first times I heard that song was on that Family Guy episode where they spoof Back to the Future, and I heard it, and I was like, "Whoa, this song is dope!" Like,
I loved it.
So yeah, and then like when it became like the whole Rickroll thing, I was like,
people hating. I know, and I'm gonna go listen to his album. That's how much I like. So Rick Astley, bro, let us use your thing as the intro if you're listening out there. But Shuby, bro, it's time for the movie on the rise. What you got for us?
All right, I didn't really know what to go with here.
You could have put Alita.
I knew we were gonna talk about it, and I would still go with Alita. I just kind of combed to see what was out there, and there was.
And you could have took one of mine.
And I could have took one of yours too. I completely forgot about one of yours because I keep forgetting that that's coming out this week.
Yeah.
But I just found a movie that was sitting with 8 stars on the coming soon list, and I was like, man, it sounds like an interesting story. I'm gonna go ahead and tell the fans about it, and if you guys want to see it, then that's up to you. I think it's showing in New Orleans, so that was one of the reasons I picked it, because it may be something that I might be interested to go see as well. It's called Gully Boy, and it's a film about a 22-year-old Muslim kid from a ghetto in Bombay, and he's a rapper.
Okay.
And it's a story of his journey for realizing his love for rap to chasing his dream and transcending his class in India. So it's kind of a story about coming off the streets and being a rapper, and the coming of age story of street rappers in Mumbai.
That's dope. See, I knew it involved something like hip hop of some sense, because listening to rap and listening to UK grime, hearing the term Gully Boy, I thought it was going to be some Jamaican or London kid. But hearing that it's in India and Bombay, that's a whole different side of the globe. And I'm interested in this, man. That's dope. Should be good pick, bro.
Yeah, it's a 2.5-hour movie. So I don't know if I am going to catch it in theaters, but I really think I would be interested in watching this film.
It's one of those movies that you got to just go. Not a lot of action, but if it's a good story, it'll keep you there. And I might go check it out. Shit.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. So 100%. What you got, Lyndon?
Oh, I got 2 things, man. That's why I was like, Shuby, I don't know why you didn't. We had like 3 we got 2 heavy hitters this week. The first week in like a month where we have two heavy hitters. We got Umbrella Academy, ladies and gentlemen, coming out on Netflix this Friday. When you guys are listening to this, you'll be able to check it out. We told you a little bit about Umbrella Academy. It's the trailer's out now, but it's an independent comic. I'm pulling it up. It's basically these kids were all simultaneously born at one moment in time, and this rich man adopted like 5 of them. They ended up having powers, and they end up being dysfunctional. The family breaks apart. This villain comes, the apocalypse comes, and the family has to get back together to save the world. And that's the Umbrella Academy. I'm super excited to see this on Netflix. I believe Ellen Page is in it. Robert Sheehan, Tom Harper, Aidan Gallagher, David Castine, Nada, Mary J. Blige. She also does some original music in there. Kate Walsh, Cameron Britton. Good cast. John Magaro, Adam Godley. Good cast. I'm excited to see what they do. And then my other one, I wasn't going to put this. I had to say this. And they finally released the full trailer. I was so upset that it took the day before the release of the freaking show to give me the full trailer for this. But Doom Patrol, ladies and gentlemen, by the time you guys hear this, Doom Patrol episode 1 will be out. So that means starting next week, Shuby and I will be reviewing Doom Patrol starting next week's episode with the review of episode 1. So when episode 2 comes out, you guys can watch it and we'll review it, just like we did with Titans. But Doom Patrol, got to see the trailer for it. I'm super excited. Cyborg getting a look. His powers look a little different than it seems like other cyborgs we've seen with his little shield. We see Plain Jane with all her different personalities, a la Split or Legion. We see Robot Man. I'm excited to see Brendan Fraser, what he does. And I'm really, really, really excited to see what Matt Bomer does as Negative Man, because I'm not really up to date on his powers, but what we see in the trailer that Matt Bomer does, super dope. So I'm excited to see Doom Patrol, and I know, Shuby, you're ready to start reviewing some more DC Universe shows.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Doom Patrol goes, because this is the first one where they're kind of using
unknowns.
Kind of unknowns. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are on this DC streaming service that are giant comic fans, so they probably do know who the Doom Patrol is. But for someone,
the casual people,
for someone like me who's a little bit, I wouldn't say a casual DC fan, but a little bit more casual than your comic heads, then I'm really interested to see how this goes. I don't know too much about the Doom Patrol, but I really like their episode in Titans, and they kind of drew me in there. And having Matt Bomer and Brendan Fraser on the cast definitely kind of is an incentive, and also Timothy Dalton.
And then having freaking your boy Alan Tudyk as the villain, and you see him in the trailer as nobody. He looked dope, so I'm excited to see. And this seems like, I thought it was going to be the comedy one, the comedy show of these. And yes, it's going to have the comedic moments, but they still seem like they're going for that dark tone that Titans had.
That's good. That's
it's in the
that's
same
what
universe.
we want. No, I think the comedy one's probably going to be Stargirl.
You think?
Yeah.
But oh man, I don't know. The trailer
Joel
did for this.
Luke Wilson.
You're right.
The girl that they got for Stargirl is not some. I haven't seen her do any deep acting.
You're right. That probably is. But I thought that was just gonna be the kids show. But you're right, kids with comedy for sure. But yeah, no, that's our movie on the rises. I have a lot of television to watch this week, including my animes. But I'm watching both Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol this weekend.
Yeah, I'm 100% watching Doom Patrol. I have to check out Umbrella Academy too. It's gonna be on Netflix, huh?
Yeah, and all of it's gonna be out. You gotta watch that, bro. That shit's gonna be fire. It's just like Deadly Class. Deadly Class is lit. I'm still up to date.
Is it a sub anime?
What you mean?
Like, is it English or is it?
Oh, it's live action American.
Oh crap! Oh yeah, okay, my bad. Yeah.
It's with Ellen Page.
Yeah.
She's gonna be litty.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, Shuby, I'm ready, brother. Let's get into the main meat of this episode, the discussion. Like we said, we're pitching 4 either movies or television shows that we think should DC, Marvel, and Star Wars, and others should do next. Other could be Hulu, Netflix, FX, the Harry Potter universe, whatever me and Shuby decide. But for DC, Marvel, and Star Wars, we wanted to pitch which movie we think that they should definitely 100% be doing and have on their slate, either movie or television show. Shuby, where you want to start first, brother?
Man, you pick. I don't want to pick.
Oh, why I gotta pick? This is your show. All
right, yeah, okay. Now let's start with let's do Marvel first, I guess.
All right, we can do Marvel. You want me to go first, or you gonna go first?
I'll go first, I guess.
All right.
So
go ahead.
With Marvel, I wanted to do a movie.
Okay.
And it's called Ghost Spider.
Ooh, what you got?
It's going to be a traditional origin story to set up the Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman universe.
Is this Sony?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Sony. Yeah.
Oh, and we went Sony on us.
And we're gonna do an Earth 65 universe.
Okay.
So we're gonna have Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker are obviously gonna be in this movie, and the main villains are gonna be Frank Castle.
Ooh, the Punisher.
Who is not the Punisher in this? And in Earth 65 in Marvel, in Gwen Stacy's universe, Frank Castle is the police chief.
Ooh.
Who takes over for Gwen Stacy's dad.
All right.
And kind of overtakes him, you know. Okay. And then Wilson Fisk has a lawyer in this universe, and that lawyer is Matt Murdock.
Okay.
So Matt Murdock, who now works for Hand, is gonna have to fight Ghost Spider, and Frank Castle will be breathing down all of their necks as the police chief. So that's my idea for Ghost Spider. I don't know who you want to go with casting. I do want to make this live action.
See, yeah, I have casting for some, and I don't have casting for others. Wait, you said you're gonna make this live action? Interest. Now that's over here at Bros Who Think Network. And let's say we're producing these, I would make a little addendum to your thing. I'd be like, you sure you want to make this live action and not animated?
I want that universe to be the Miles Morales thing.
Okay. So you want this to be something different.
Yeah, and so like I really want to create this Earth 65 universe or whatever, so that we're kind of like completely doing a different thing than what the MCU is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So as a person who's pitching here for Sony, hey Sony, let's get more invested in what we have here and create our own spider world with but different than the one that could be mixed up with Marvel.
Another thing that I have to say over here as your representative, your agent, I would say, Shuby, do you know that I don't know if you could use your Frank Castle and your Matt Murdock, seeing that it's not animated because it's live action. I don't know if you could get the rights.
They're not being used right now, so I think it's possible.
Shuby saying, "Fuck it, dope." I love the pitch, man. That was a damn good pitch. I'm interested to see Frank Castle as the police chief with Gwen Stacy as Spider Gwen doing her thing live action. And like I said, I don't have casting for all of mine either, but some I do have casting for. I do not have casting for my Marvel one, but I dig yours, Shuby.
Thanks, man. Yeah. The only thing with casting is I couldn't really think about who I would put them as, because I would think in the case for the younger actors, because I feel like I'd be doing a teenage Gwen and Peter.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know out of a younger group, because I assume any of the pitches that I would be doing wouldn't be able to come out until 2023, 2024.
Yeah, true.
So that's why I didn't really do anything for that. And I wouldn't be surprised, depending on if you could get the rights, to maybe having some of those guys reprise their roles.
Their roles. Real. 100%. Well, all right. Well, for me, next up, what I have because the MCU now owns the rights to so much, they now have X-Men. They now have Fantastic Four. But what excites me most of all is the fact that they have Daredevil back. Because what a lot of people don't realize is Daredevil's pretty crucial to the MCU, and
Definitely.
I really love Matt Murdock Daredevil. I want to do a new movie with Daredevil, but not only that, I want to do it to where I'm taking a little play from Shuby. I want to do Daredevil and Spider-Man, a movie leading some sort of team up movie with them. But instead of doing a origin story with Daredevil, we've seen his origin, and I'm saying, you know what? Let's connect the MCU. Let's not waste Charlie Cox. I want to bring Charlie Cox and do a Daredevil movie with him, with Peter Parker. You take him, his Kingpin, into the Peter Parker universe. Make what's his name? I'm trying to think of his name. Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin. Let him be in charge of these Sinister Six people, and all of a sudden, Matt Murdock's back in New York. He runs into this Spider-Man guy, and we can finally get the team up of Peter Parker and Matt Murdock, Daredevil, that we've been waiting to see for so long, a.k.a. Team Red. Only missing Deadpool, but we'll never get that.
No, probably not. But, yeah, I love that, man. I think that it's great that we both used Daredevil in a sense in our pitches, because I feel like that's what people should focus in on here. That character is really important to what you could do in the Marvel universe. Like, the fact that you have a lot of heroes in New York City and you're only showing one at a time is crazy to me. Like, they should be interacting. Like, that's part of their day-to-day life. Like, Daredevil probably doesn't go after certain people because, like, he knows Spider-Man's going to take care of it, you know?
Yeah, like, no, and that's something that you need to. And Spider-Man has the big threats. Daredevil has the streets, and they just and let them.
You got to think you got to think that there's like a text chain.
Yeah, there has to be something. And then when you put Fantastic Four in there, that's going to be even more stuff. But I want to say honorable mention. I wanted to do the Illuminati, where you have the leaders of all the major organizations. You have Tony Stark. You have Professor X. You have Reed Richards. You have Black Panther, and you have Doctor Strange. And Namor, maybe not due to rights. I was gonna do that where you have them meeting and there's a global threat and the Illuminati has to do something, but that would have been too hard because not only we don't have Fantastic Four, but we don't have X-Men. So I didn't want to pitch that wild, crazy thing. I think my Daredevil Spider-Man thing is where I wanted to go with Marvel, and I will admit that that's my weakest pitch I have.
All right.
But let's move where you want to go now. DC, Star Wars, or other?
Let's do other because I really don't have one.
Oh,
so I just want you to go ahead and do your other, and then we'll get into the good stuff.
For other, I have Netflix. Since Netflix is going into live action anime, I said, "Hey Netflix, I want to call up and pitch this to you guys. You did Cowboy Bebop. And that's cool. That's space. You have a lot of CGI to involve, and it's a classic story. But why not do an anime that's less known, not as big of IP, and I can guarantee you that you won't have a lot of backlash determining on who you cast due to the IP not being well known. The IP is so well, and it takes place in modern day, and it's realistic that you don't need crazy CGI. Also, I can guarantee you that if you do this right, it will be a hit. Because it not only are you having a lot of diversity, but you're having a strong female protagonist. I'm saying to Netflix, greenlight the Black Lagoon anime spinoff TV show. For those who don't know what Black Lagoon is, it's a show about this company, this trading company that's in the Indonesian Sea. They basically are an independent company that basically that ships goods back and forth for different mobs and mafias. The main group that they work for is the Russian mob, and it's run by Miss Balalaika, a superior Russian top head boss lady who kicks ass and is just so badass. And I want to do a TV show because each episode there's a through line because you're introduced to the guy known as Rock. He's the us character in it because in the first episode, he loses his job because this company picks him up because his company was trading missiles and stuff, and he didn't know what he was trading, and the mob ends up stealing the supply with him, and they tried to use him as barter. His company didn't give a damn, so they left him, and he ends up joining the crew, the trading company crew, and his name is Rock. And I don't necessarily know who I'd want to cast as Rock. Rock's an Asian woman. But Balalaika, the head Russian of the mob, I want to be Tilda Swinton because I think it would be badass for Tilda Swinton to be this Balalaika, because if you know Black Lagoon, the anime, you know that Tilda Swinton would kick butt as Balalaika, the badass. I'm trying to get you the trading company. Oh, the Lagoon Company. That's what their trading company is called. It's the Lagoon Company. So yeah, it's about a bunch of pirate mercenaries, and it's pretty much no CGI. And you can do this through line where you meet Rock and Rock joins the crew. But after that, it's pretty much 2-3 story arcs that you could tie in together. That maybe 2 to 3 stories each. Like you have episode 1 and 2 tied together, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and finish it off with the season finale. It would be about a 2 to 3 season show, no more, no less, because the story doesn't need that much. But I'd have Cass as the main character, Revy, because she's the badass hit assassin for this company. She's the muscle. You don't mess with the Lagoon Company because you have to deal with Revy. And I want that to either be Karen Fukuhara, aka Katana from Suicide Squad, or Constance Wu from Crazy Rich Asians. I think to have diversity as Revy, this Asian actress would kick butt. I really want Karen Fukuhara. She's my number one choice because she knows martial arts and she could really kick butt as Revy. There's also an African American. He's the captain of the ship. His name is Dutch. It's Dutch and Revy, so we have Karen Fukuhara. And since this is TV and I'm spending money on villains and other people part of the crew, I don't need Dutch and Revy to necessarily be big names. But this guy, if you know American Gods, I want the guy from American Gods, Ricky Whittle, to be my Dutch. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Whittle. If you've seen American Gods, the bald, super buff brother who plays I forget who he plays. He plays the main character in American Gods. He could kick butt as my Dutch, and he plays Shadow Moon. And I just want him to be Dutch. And then for the hacker guy in the team, I forget his name. I would want him to be a comedic actor, and maybe Andy Samberg, because that's how comedic I want him to be. But get Andy Samberg to actually have a little bit of dramatic, but still bring the comedy aspect. So you have a team of Karen Fukuhara, Ricky Whittle, Andy Samberg, and I think the final character has to be someone Rock has to be kind of leveled to the ground because he's not a fighter, but he becomes one over time. So I don't necessarily know who I want to have him, but the Russian mob is Tilda Swinton, badass, and then you can cast other big name actors as the other mob leaders. And there's other badass female protagonists that come in and out and fight Revy, and you could bring in super dope women actresses to come in and battle our Karen Fukuhara Revy as she plays for the Lagoon Company. I would definitely want her rival who works for who supplies the guns for most of these people in the Indonesian Sea in this town. And she's a nun, and this church really is the drug dealing, and they supply guns, and they have a main nun who kicks butt with Revy. They go on missions together sometimes they fight each other. I would want that to be Saoirse Ronan, the girl from Lady Bird. I think her versus Karen Fukuhara would be badass, and seeing her be a violent nun would be kick butt. So I got Saoirse Ronan is the nun who is Revy's rival. I have Karen Fukuhara as Revy. I have Tilda Swinton as Balalaika, 3 badass women. Ricky Whittle as Dutch, the captain of the ship. I have Andy Samberg as the comedic hacker. And then that's my Black Lagoon pitch to you guys. It's pretty much a mercenary series of this pirating trading company who does missions for different sects of the mob and stops mob conflicts. I think this is a show that people would love in an era post-Narcos.
Yeah, I think it sounds really interesting. And the casting definitely That's definitely a different group out there, you know, from Andy Samberg to Saoirse Ronan.
That's what I'm saying. Like Andy Samberg in this, like I just think I need someone that's comedic like him, but still be able to to drive a car pretty fast. And I think Andy could pull it off. If not Andy, I want maybe Bill Hader. Bill Hader might be a better scratch Andy Samberg. Bill Hader, because Bill Hader showed us in Barry he could do action. I want somebody like Barry Shuby. Bill Hader would probably be a better choice.
Yeah, that probably would be. I've always had like this weird thing about Andy Samberg, and someone's been telling me recently that I should, give another shot to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm trying to watch it, and it's just. So you like it? You like
I do.
it? Okay.
That's why I casted him, because the guy who I thought of is really like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine guy, but he could be more like a Barry if you make it a little more serious. But it's either Bill Hader and Andy Samberg, but I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and this Black Lagoon pitch is. I dig this pitch, and I love that anime, and that's my other. I think Netflix could make this a great TV show and won't experience a lot of backlash because it's not a property that's super well known by a lot of people.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of things I was thinking about. I ended up thinking about a lot of stuff that's already like been in conversation to happen or is being put in motion. And I think we should go to DC next, and that kind of like makes me. I'm going to mention something I scratched out earlier because I was going to do a Zatanna movie, but I'm hearing that might actually happen.
Yeah.
So I decided to pull out of that.
I see. I have two DC pitches because one is something that's actually happening, but I just wanted to pitch my own, and then the other one is something that I thought could be unique. But I'll let you go first. I just wanted to mention that. So I got like two. One's more full thought, and then one's just something that's extra.
Okay, well, then to mention my little bit of extra, I guess, in this category would be the Zatanna movie. I think that a Zatanna movie would be really interesting. Definitely bring in the magical universe of the DC. Maybe we could start seeing a lot more of the magical heroes. Because I think Constantine's been done wrong, and I think that the best way to bring him would to first develop it with Zatanna and see how people respond to the magical DC universe. But I had some casting ideas for Zatanna.
Okay.
Haley Steinfeld was up there for me because I feel like by this time for Zatanna, we'd be in 2023. So I was thinking about actresses that were around 23, 22 right now. And that would eventually be like 27 by the time that they take this role.
Okay.
The next one is Tessa Farmiga because why wouldn't I mention her in there? But I think she would actually be a pretty good candidate for the role. Okay. And the next one was one that I pulled off the internet that I've seen in a few lists of fan casting, and it's Camila Mendes, who is in Riverdale.
Oh, okay.
She plays Veronica in Riverdale. I don't know if you've ever seen Riverdale.
No, yeah, I don't know who I've seen. I know who plays some people in Riverdale, but I've never watched an episode, and I don't necessarily know her character.
Well, she's super hot.
Oh,
so I'm into her being Zatanna.
That's why you picked her 100%. Well, that's dope, Shuby.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'd be really cool with the Zatanna movie. I think that's definitely gonna happen. But for the real pitch for the DC is I want to do a DC miniseries. I guess it would be on the streaming service because I don't think DC would go release a property on HBO.
Yeah.
But think HBO, and it's going to be like a 6 to 8 episode miniseries, and it's going to be Batman Red Hood. I want the story.
That's funny.
I want to see it.
You should have just did the movie because it's funny that you say that. My pitch is a Batman pitch as well, but it's not Red Hood.
But I want to see the entire saga. I don't think you could do one movie and give me the rise of Jason Todd, the event that happens with the Joker,
And then
the fall of the afterward effect of that, and then Red Hood appears, and we go through that saga. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stories besides just the Red Hood story or just the Robin story. I want to show the story from Robin to Red Hood.
Okay, you want to see everything, the rise and the fall. You want a trilogy, a mini series that takes place. That'd probably be a 2-season, or 3-season mini series.
Probably
like,
so.
That like the first season is the rise of Jason Todd. Second season, the fall of Jason Todd. The second season is probably the birth of Red Hood, where the first season ends with him dying as Robin. The second season is Batman going through it and getting Red Hood, him becoming Red Hood, and then the third season, or even the second season, can finish off the stuff.
Yeah, so I didn't have any casting for this again, but I know that this definitely needs a strong Batman casting. I don't think it needs to be in the movieverse. You can do a different one. It needs a Barbara Gordon, because I want that to be a big part of this. Of course, it needs a Jason Todd, and I think that Alita guy could be Jason Todd in this miniseries, but I also think that he could be Nightwing in this series too. So,
interesting.
And of course, there's going to be the Joker.
Facts. You got to have somebody swinging the crowbar. Dig it, bro. I dig both your DCs.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. So yeah, what's your Batman?
Okay, so I'm gonna do my other one. I'm gonna do my real one first and my Batman second. My real one is something on the DC streaming service, and I know people be like, not a movie. And this was hard to describe because I kind of wanted a Task Force X sort of team, but with the unknown hero. I wanted heroes, vigilantes. This show would basically be Batman's outsiders versus Cadmus, essentially. But the team would be composed of Arsenal. It would be composed of Black Lightning or Static Shock, one of the two, African-American lightning character. It would be composed of Artemis as our female muscle, it's not Cassie Sandsmark and it's not Wonder Girl. It's Artemis. She is the uber violent other Amazonian who is not really an Amazonian. She's actually from Egyptian lore, but she lives on Amazon, and she has super strong powers, and she's in the Wonder Woman family, but she's like the Jason Todd version in the Wonder Woman family. So we would have Arsenal, her, we'd have either, like I said, Black Lightning, or I think Mr. Terrific, Black Lightning or Mr. Terrific, more so Black Lightning. And then I would want another vigilante human character, i.e. the Question, or if we want a female, Huntress. And I want this to be the undercover, like super secret special ops. They do the dirty work. Jefferson Pierce or Mr. Terrific is the heart of the team. He tries to keep the consciousness going. Arsenal is the tie to Green. I don't want to necessarily say Green Arrow is the secret backer, because I want there to be a private funder behind this team. And I haven't decided whether or not it's Bruce Wayne or Ollie Queen, but I want the person to contact Arsenal for a specific reason, because the backer feels that Arsenal and Dick Grayson are the both prototype persons to lead this team, but Arsenal can do something that Dick can't. Arsenal can allow people to die, and he can kill. And that's why I wanted Roy Harper to be the leader of this team, along with Mr. Terrific or Black Lightning, whichever.
Let's say Mr. Terrific, because I feel like that kind of fits that.
Yeah, I kind of like Mr. Terrific. He's like the sports. He's like the good consciousness of it, and he's the tech guy who keeps everybody booted. And then they get Artemis to join, and then the fourth person either. I like Huntress. Let's go with Huntress. And this is so we have 2 females, 2 males. And then that still allows for Vic Sage as the Question to come into the show. He's not a part of the team, but he comes in as an ally and potential villain at some point. But it turns out that he's a hero. They will be mainly fighting Cadmus and Argus, as Cadmus and Argus both. This could be in the Titans universe.
Yeah, this is a series, huh?
Yeah, this is a series on the DC universe.
It's kind of like
it's like Young Justice almost.
It's kind of like a live. What is gonna be live action, huh?
It's live action, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a live action Young Justice, almost done right. Agents of Shield.
Exactly. It's the Titan. If this Titans universe was gonna have a Outsiders Young Justice team, this would be them, and they're super violent, and they do all the undercover missions, and they don't associate with any of the heroes, and they only take missions from their backer, who they don't even know his name, and they find out as the show ends. But they would fight Cadmus and Argus, and throughout the show, Vic Sage, the Question, would be trying to solve a mystery that gets solved in season 3, where they go up against a team led by Maxwell Lord, who he has hired a group of assassins, Deathstroke, Lady Shiva, and Sportsmaster. How can they beat some of the greatest assassins led by Maxwell Lord? And he funds both Argus and Cadmus, because Argus in this universe is basically the strike force, and Cadmus is pretty much the scientific. They do the metahuman stuff. And Maxwell Lord's funding all this with Amanda Waller. And basically, this team has to fight them, do the undercover missions, and solve the mystery of who's behind Argus and Cadmus, and why isn't the government doing anything. We would see villains like Blockbuster in there. We would see Killer Croc as like some of the people being experimented on. But this would be a lot of street level, a lot of low level villains. That it's basically, like Schubert said, Agents of Shield fused with Young Justice and a little Suicide Squad. But it's DC streaming service. I guess you would call them. I would like to call them Arsenal and the Outlaws, because there's this comic series called Red Hood and the Outlaws, and Arsenal's in it, and I kind of base it off of that. But instead of Red Hood, I would call it Arsenal and the Outlaws, or Arsenal's Outsiders, one of the two.
Yeah, I like it. You're mentioning a lot of names that I had circulating in my head. I was like, man, can you do an Arsenal movie? And I was like, no, I don't think you can.
No.
And I was like, man, I really like Artemis as a character in Young Justice. Is there a way I could incorporate her? I don't know. And then you mentioned, you were thinking about Black Lightning, Static Shock. I was like, man, can you do a Static Shock movie? I think you could, but I didn't know how I wanted to pitch it.
And I was like, Mr. Terrific. And when you said do Mr. Terrific instead, I was like, I kind of like that more, because he's the.
I do, yeah.
He's the guy that connects them to the Justice League. He's the guy that brings them to, like, yo, we can't be killing. Like, we still have to do the right thing. He's that consciousness of the team. And the Artemis I'm talking about isn't Young Justice Artemis. It's Wonder Woman's Artemis. And then with Arsenal leading, and then you have freaking Mr. Terrific Artemis, and then the fourth being Huntress, with Vic Sage's Question involved throughout all this, as Question's going to be a villain at one point, but all he's trying to do is solve the mystery of who is the guy behind Argus and Cadmus, and it's Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yep.
I want to hear Batman now.
All right, my Batman pitch is, we've kind of talked about this, and I've kind of been going back and forth in my head with what I wanted to do. So my Batman pitch is simple. It's a movie in the DC EU. It is essentially a mystery. I wanted to do the mystery of Hush. I wanted to do the story of Hush. Hush involves where Tommy Elliott is essentially Batman's villain in this. He sets a mystery setup where you can have all of the Batman villains in it, and at the end you have a big showdown with Batman versus Hush. You have Nightwing in this. You have Catwoman. You have all the super Batman heroes you want to see in this, and then you have a new no-name villain that not only matches Batman in intelligence, but in as well as brute strength. And then at the end of this movie, we will come to find out that Tommy Elliott was not working alone. He was sent as an operative, and Batman, after he beats Tommy Elliott in his lore, wherever the last fight is, he's going to find a card on Tommy's body. And on that card, the only thing he'll see is the mask of an owl, which leads into the second movie, Court of Owls. My Batman, I've been torn, and after seeing Keenan Johnson as my Dick Grayson, I was like, I gotta have a Batman that kind of fits with him. And I was thinking Ben Barnes. Ben Barnes would be my Batman. I've kind of solidified it on him as he's my Batman with Keenan Johnson as my Nightwing. Who would play Hush in this movie, you ask? Well, none other than Robert Pattinson, because why not have the guy that people thought was going to be Batman versus the guy that I chose to be Batman fighting each other, Ben Barnes and Robert Pattinson, because if you have a good Batman, you got to have an even better villain to go up against him. And I think Robert Pattinson could be just as good as Batman, but I think he'd be more interesting as this anti-Batman, Tommy Elliott. And then you'd have, I don't know if I'd want Joker in this movie because Joker's in the comic. I think instead of Joker, I would want Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, and Penguin as my three Batman villains, because Catwoman's in it as well. She has to be in it. But I think as my three Batman villains that are involved, because I think in the comic it was Penguin, Riddler, and Joker. I think I would want just to have diversity. Oh, Clayface is in it as well. I would want Clayface, Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, and Penguin. I think that would be a good diverse group of Batman villains. And then Catwoman. You could even do Mad Hatter if you want instead of Penguin to have a lot of diversity in Batman villains. But this would be set up as Tommy Elliott was trying to become the next Talon for the Quarter Owls. This would set up my second movie where Ben Barnes has to go up against. He finds out that his Gotham was a lie. He finds out that his best friend was only doing his parents' will, which his parents supported because both his parents and Tommy Elliott's parents were a part of the Court of Owls, an organization that Bruce didn't know about, and he has to go up against the oldest organization in Gotham in the second movie, the Court of Freaking Owls. And that's like my two-part movie. The third one would probably be Batman versus the Joker, because I would want Joker in my series, of course. You'd have to finish it off with Mr. J. But this Tommy Elliott Hush leading into the Court of Owls, this two-part movie would be my just true ode to Scott Snyder and just my ode to my favorite Batman.
So you're saying that's the direction you think that they should go with this franchise?
Yeah, facts.
So that was kind of your pitch for what they should be doing.
Yeah, like you need to be doing that. Fuses not only action but gives you noir and it gives you mystery, because you have to not only you solve a mystery in every movie. You solve the mystery of who's Tommy Elliott and who's behind pulling. Why is Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter, and Two-Face working together with Catwoman? Who's behind them? Oh wait, it's Tommy Elliott. Wait, who's behind Tommy Elliott? Oh, wait, is this big organization that I didn't know about? And then the whole second movie is him trying to solve the mystery of who is the Court of Owls. So you get this detective. There's no more detective than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm really kind of concerned about that with the timeline, because I don't think that we're going to have – I don't think with the age range we're going for with this Batman would mean that Dick Grayson would be Nightwing.
Oh yeah, you can cut Nightwing. You can cut him out. He doesn't have to be in it. You can make him be Robin in the court. We could get a real Rob. We could get a Dick Grayson in the Court of Owls movie. Let him be in the second one, and let him be Batman gets to the or even the third one. I don't. Or you don't even need a Robin in my movie. I just necessarily want just full detective Hush and Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Like Dick Grayson's not key to this story. You don't need him in there.
And
you can cut him.
And the other thing I want to mention with this whole Batman franchise is, I swear, if we get a dang repeat of something we've already seen, because like I've already said this about with Spider-Man, like I get it. I don't want to see the same thing repeated over and over again whenever we start a new Spider-Man. Like if they do a redo of Harvey Dent, I'm gonna be so pissed.
See, I'm gonna be mad if we get another year one. Like I don't want another year one.
No,
like,
I don't think we're gonna get another year one. But yeah, I guess Harvey Dent happens in year one. So
like I don't want another year. Like give me Mr. Freeze, give me Mad Hat, give me some. There's so many other Batman villains. Like I said, Hush and Quarter Owls. Give me something dope.
Yeah.
All right,
definitely.
let's get to Star Wars. You want me to go first so you can have the last hurrah? Yes. All right. So my Star Wars thing is essentially this one is a TV show. Well, is it? Yeah. No. My Star Wars thing is a movie. I'm not gonna even stunt. No. It's a TV show. Yeah, it's a TV show. I want to do just basically straight up Old Republic in the TV universe, Disney Plus. I know that we're speculating Dave and Dan's doing that in the movies, but I want straight up lightsabers. I want to see and like, oh, when I say Old Republic, I know people could think Darth Revan. No, I'm saying let's go past that. Let's get away from anything that we know right now. Let's look at how the Jedi Order came about, how they're like when they formed the Jedi Councils. I want to see the Jedi and the Sith formation. I want to see Jedi versus Sith. I want lightsabers on lightsabers on lightsabers. This is where we see where there's the Jedi bodyguards who have the staff, like all the different versions of the Force that we see in Old Republic, the video game. That's what I want on my TV series. You can basically cast unknowns and new people. I want this to set up a whole new universe. This could be not a whole new universe, but set up a whole new series where it could go however many seasons you want. And this is Disney Plus and basically just Old Republic. And I want to see the formation of the Sith and the Jedi.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everyone's clamoring for right now. That's why I didn't really touch on it with my pitch, because I feel like it's going to happen. I think that's 100%. If not, what you're saying in your pitch, it's either going to be the Benioff and Weiss movies, or it's going to be exactly what you said.
Yeah, you gotta get it.
I think it's the most likely thing that Star Wars is going to go, because it kind of gives you the liberty of not having to answer a lot of questions.
Facts. Yep.
Yeah, because that's the issue that I'll even have here with the one that I'm doing, is you'll always kind of have this wondering what's going on with the people that we do know about.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for me, I wanted to go with a TV series, and I wanted to go with an anthology series in the vein of an American Horror Story kind of deal, where every season's different.
Okay.
And so I want the show to be called Star Wars, either Unknown Regions or Regions Unknown.
Ah, we're exploring that, eh?
Yeah, where I want an anthology series where we can go from Old Republic to where we are now in the timeline and just explore different stories within the regions. My first season is this. It's a group of younglings and two Jedi Masters along with a small crew traveling to get their kyber crystals on Ilum, which we've seen in the Clone Wars series. Ilum is one of the known planets of these unknown regions. And so the first couple episodes will be them traveling to Ilum, getting their kyber crystals, the whole kind of, backstory of how that is for the Jedi, how important it is, and there's going to be their own kinds of trials and dangers that happen on Ilum. But the real stuff happens when they leave Ilum, because in the unknown regions, you never know what lies ahead or what might you have picked up when you left. So I'm not going to go too much into that because no one's paying me to write this. but yeah. So that would be the first season where you could kind of explore that Clone Wars era, or even earlier than that, with actual Jedi and stuff like that, but make it its own isolated story where it doesn't kind of fall into where's Yoda, where's Mace Windu kind of stuff.
Okay.
But you could
even
you probably are expecting is me to say that you would do Ezra Thrawn or Ahsoka Sabine, and I think that's something that you do along the anthology. Like, imagine you do one of these stories, and at the very end of the season, you get kind of a teaser of Ezra Thrawn. Like, that would kind of completely lock people into watching the next season.
Yeah, facts. I was thinking for that first season that you were saying, if you're doing it during the Clone Wars and you're trying to get a Jedi to go to the Outer Regions, what about the one Jedi that doesn't really follow the codes of the Jedi? If you want to use someone that we know to kind of connect it to lore, but still have an original story. What's that Jedi's name that was with Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan didn't get along with because they were completely different? He's like the hippie Jedi. What's his name?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I
You
just
know
had it in
exactly who I'm
my
talking
head.
about.
I just had it in my head, and then I was like,
He has like dreadlocks.
yeah, I know what you're talking
Oh man,
about.
gosh, whatever his name is, that's who you could use as like the name that people
Quinlan
remember.
Voss.
Yes, Quinlan
Yeah,
Voss.
that's it.
Yes, Quinlan Voss. He
Quinlan
could be your
Voss.
guy for the first season.
Yeah, I believe he could. Yeah, I think that he would be someone. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm saying, where you take someone who maybe people know and they need more exploration, or some of the stories that are carried over from those Clone Wars and Rebel series. There's a lot of Emperor Palpatine exploring that during the Empire time, and the Empire was doing stuff out there that you could even pull from.
Ooh, you could make it
And
to where you have the Empire send some Inquisitors. Where one season, like let's say it's season 3, where we're in the Emperor time, you could have him the whole season be where we follow some Inquisitors and they're looking for holocron, or they're looking for stuff for the Empire to expand the Force or the Sith stuff in that season. That'd be crazy.
exactly. Yeah, you never know what you could find out there. It could be a little bit dark and horror-y at times.
You can even connect that to Snoke, where like they meet Snoke in that season.
Exactly. So I mean, like that's what I'm thinking, that this is the perfect kind of series to always have on Disney Plus or on Hulu, or however they want to do it, where they can make it a little bit dark, but a little bit lighthearted, where each season has its own director, has its own group,
cast, and I like the vibe
stories.
that I like the vibe that each season takes place in a time during the Star Wars timeline, but in the Outer Rim, and how does that connect to what's going on right now? Like first season Clone Wars, second season Rebels time, third season like into the Empire, fourth season the Empire ends, leading in the New Jedi. Snoke's back, like that's crazy. That's a great pitch, Judy. I dig that one.
Yeah, I think that's the one. That's what they need to do next. But I think we need to see how the Mandalorian goes first.
Facts, 100%. I dig our pitches, man. I think your best pitch was definitely your Star Wars. I like your Zatanna pitch a lot, and I liked your Marvel pitch. I know you said you didn't think your Marvel pitch was high. I liked your Marvel pitch.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, man. I was really getting into, once I saw Spider-Verse, I really started getting into all those different iterations of Spider-Man. And
I see you did your homework.
Yeah, and I really wanted to go into to Miles, but I think that his story is going to be told, and I feel like it's going to be best told in an animation realm.
Fact.
But I think that, we've done so many Spider-Man movies. Let's do a Spider-Woman movie. You can call it Spider-Woman. You can call it Ghost Spider. You can call it Spider-Gwen. You can call it whatever you want. I think that Gwen Stacy character was one of the more interesting characters for that movie.
That's what I was about to say. Like, you really love the Spider-Man idea of everybody else who isn't Peter. Like, you really want to dive into those things. Yeah, I love that take, man. And like, I think my take that I spent the most time in was either my Red Hood, my Arsenal and the Outlaws, or my Black Lagoon pitch.
Yeah, the Black Lagoon one was definitely had the most.
That's the one, because I've been on an anime vibe. But my Arsenal one, man, I would get terrified.
But the Arsenal one, yeah.
I get like, I don't know if the DC streaming could afford that, but I mean, shit, they got Brendan Thwaites to be Robin. Why can't we get Taron Egerton to be my Arsenal?
Right?
Like,
I mean, he's been in some stinkers, so like,
you got Timothy Dalton. Together. Like, let me get Taron Egerton in his Arsenal and let him revitalize his career.
Yeah, well, we don't know how this Elton John movie's gonna go, but I mean, if you're depending on an Elton John biopic to save your career, then you might need to just come to the DC universe and be Arsenal.
Facts, 100%. But yeah, man, dope episode, Juby.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we did that. It's fun to be able to pitch in a non-competitive way.
And speaking of that, pitch is coming back very soon. We got to start the season.
I think that's coming up for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's wrap things up here for this episode. Anything that you want to say on the way out before we plug?
Oh yeah. Be sure you guys to check out. We're streaming now on Twitch. I know you guys are a lot of video game fans out there. I will be trying to stream every day for the network. We'll be having Shuby pop in, Krista pop in, Brooklyn, playing different games ranging from anime Jump Force or Xenoverse or Dragon Ball Z Fighters or even the My Hero Fighter game to NBA 2K to Madden to FIFA. We're going to be twitching all kind of stuff as well as everything's on YouTube. Please go subscribe to us on Twitch at twitch.tv/BrosWhoThink or on YouTube, type in Bros Who Think Network and you'll find us. We're the first thing. And click subscribe because we're trying to build those arenas so we can give you guys more dope content because we're about to get into the video arena. You'll probably be able to see me and Shuby soon doing Bros Who Binge in video format. But until then, we're trying to build up the platforms until we do the video content.
I'm building that bookshelf, that Adam Schefter closet set in your room. Bookshelf, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the background of the camera.
That's what you want?
The little knickknacks in the back.
I'm gonna have my posters and stuff. Are you gonna have action figures in the background like some of these other YouTubers?
No, I don't have action figures like that, man.
Me neither, bro. I'm not a big figurine guy.
No, neither am I. The one thing that was really funny when I was in college was, and this was before 2016, I had gotten, when The Apprentice was big, I had this Trump doll that had catchphrases on it. And so, I had it sitting on, this just shelf way up in my closet. And, this is 2012, 13, 14. Then 2016 rolls around, and someone just, looking at my house one day is like, hey, you got a Trump doll on your shelf. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do. It says you're fired.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
But yeah, man.
But yeah,
that's all we got for the network.
But yeah, cool. So go ahead and plug real quick and.
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Berlin the Don on Twitter, at Lyndon Burton II on Instagram, Lyndon Burton II. Be sure to follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think on Twitter. Like I said, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Twitch. We're now on Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. I know Spotify is the number one podcast arena. Subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on Apple/iTunes podcast. Subscribe, Podbean, wherever you listen to podcasts, Stitcher. We're now everywhere that you listen to podcasts, legitimately. Go check that out. Or you can go to our website where we post all of our amazing content, www.broswhothink.com. And then if you want to send us in questions, scroll down on the homepage, put your first, last name, and in the subject line, put the show that you want to answer the question specifically. If you want me and Schubert to, put Bros Who Binge and ask us your movie question, and we will answer it next show. But thank you, Shuby. As always, come and talk to movies. I love talking movies with you guys, and I love talking movies for the fans. Thank you guys for listening, as always.
Yeah, thanks to you to everyone who listens to this show every week. I know that we're finally getting back into the movie theater to get to see movies now, so we're definitely excited that it's going to start ramping up here because this is a really exciting year.
Facts.
So,
this week, Alita and Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol are kind of starting the second wave. Young Justice and Glass kind of carried us over the abysmal points of January, but now it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, and just in a couple months, we'll be at Avengers Endgame. Facts. And then also Star Wars Celebration, which is probably going to give us the trailers.
And Captain Marvel.
And Captain Marvel's in March. And then we'll get to Shazam! Oh my gosh, dude, this is gonna be crazy.
Crazy. And I need to get to Halloween to watch Joker because I gotta know what's going on
so far
with Joaquin Phoenix.
It's Valentine's weekend.
Yes, sir.
Well, all right, man. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at aschubert14. Thank you for listening to Bros Who Binge. Make sure you're listening to everything on the Bros Who Think Network. You have no more excuses because we're everywhere.
Facts.
So yeah, keep listening to the Bros Who Think Network and listen to the Bros Who Binge next week. Have a great Valentine's Day weekend. Curl up with a loved one if you got one. Watch some rom-coms or maybe an MCU film or a DC movie or Star Wars because we love talking about that stuff here on the Bros Who Binge. Have a good weekend. Keep binging.